having a good time.
Oh my God!
Somebody told me that you hit some gym. Didn't really hurt, I let myself go. Uh-oh, drunk for a few days in a bad mood stream. Wanna be wise, but then I drop it. Uh-oh, fingers on keys, I try to write some shit. Praying for somebody to knock the door. Nothing came up, I need a friendship kit. Guess I'm alone, I'm gonna hit the floor. Some dude, yeah, but I wish I didn't know it all. I wish I could protect my brain for good. Give me a gun so I can blow it all. Life is a cheaper and I want some beer. Bring me the dogs and you can warm the other. What's going on? My heart's beginning to cheer. I met a girl and everything gets better. Oh, memories, leave me alone. Oh, memories, leave me alone.
And we are live for another Flat Earth Friday. How are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm great. It's exciting to be back here. Thanks to everyone that's tuning in.
Yeah, so we've got an anniversary we're celebrating tonight.
Yeah.
Heck of an anniversary. It's been a year since the final false dichotomy psyop experience. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's been a long year. I know a lot of people think it just went by quick, but we've been working hard over here. So it's been a long year. A lot of work's been put in. And, it's great to go over the topic of this final experiment again because it's pretty dead.
Very dead. So, I mean, the big question is where is the documentary? What do you think happened?
Well, so what I was thinking is that they were waiting for Doofus to do his final streams, his live stream and his farewell, and that they would take clips from that. And then Jonathan would put those into the documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a comment from Andy in the chat earlier that his theory is that maybe the footage from Antarctica was just too obvious that it's not a 93 million mile away sun. What do you think? Do you think the footage that they got down there actually showed the truth about the nature of our reality and that they couldn't release it for that reason?
It's possible that, just it was so beautiful, so amazing. So the fact that there's no way that this could be the underside of a sphere with the sun, 90 million miles away circling around them. So yeah, I could absolutely see that all of a sudden they figured out, this doesn't match what we're trying to tell everybody.
Yeah, so I mean, tonight's going to be just sort of like an review of the last year. But one of the things to come out of that final experiment down in Antarctica was the whole short shadows thing. And there's no way that they could have short shadows with a 93 million mile away sun. And so the drone footage that came from Will Duffy, when that went up and did a pan around, you could clearly see that directly underneath the sun, there was very short shadows or almost no shadows whatsoever. And then if you looked 180 degrees, all the objects were casting long shadows. And so that speaks to the proximity of the sun, and that can all be modeled. We actually did a lot of that modeling this last year.
Yeah, so it's interesting. They had guys like Joe Rogan that were brought into this. Who was it? The lighter that Jaron took with him. The lighter that Jaron took with him. Some guy went on Rogan's podcast and gave it to him and plugged the final experiment. There was a lot of effort, a lot of money, and a lot of attention, and a lot of time put behind the PSYOP. Maybe they feel that they got what they wanted out of it. They managed to hit their goals. Duffy did his best to read his script and to do what he did and to undermine the Bible as much as possible, and to try to kill something that was already dead. So we had destroyed the fake pressurized Freemasonic New World Order pizza dome many years ago, like long before, like one of the first years, 2015, 2016, people were already saying that there was a huge issue with the fact that the southern stars actually rotate a different direction than the northern ones. It wasn't something that was hidden. It was guys like Jaron and David Weiss and the entire FE crew, Mark Sargent and a few others that were just telling us that we were wrong and that coffee cup caustic, and they were denying what we were trying to bring forth. And it was long before channels like McToon and Will Duffy, and none of these guys even existed. We were already telling them that there's something wrong with the pressurized pizza dome, that it wasn't biblical and that it wasn't observable in any way. So we actually, basically knew they were setting it up so that they could tear it down and try to destroy the flat earth, which they haven't done, I'll say. But the only thing they might have done was deactivate some of their agents.
Yeah. So tonight, let's go through the deactivated agents, the ones that are still active. I'm hoping to get some crowd participation tonight, because for the last, 7 years, 8 years, there was always so much flat earth content. When I first started, researching it, that was like 2015, 2016, and there was always like so many hours of content, you couldn't watch it all in a day. It was just flat earth, flat earth, flat earth. And it took a big hit after the Behind the Curve documentary that Mark and Pat were in, and Bob Nodell and Jaron. They became the guys that one proved curvature, the other one proved rotation, right?
Yeah.
What a setup that was. So that was a big hit. And then there was the Logan Paul mockumentary. That was another hit. And so it's been hit after hit after hit. And then the final experiment came along, and we knew right from the get-go that the model didn't work, and that when they went down there, that model was going to be debunked. And we were curious as to who was going to stay and who was going to go. And we've got a lot of this documented. I've got in a video from what was his name?
Russian Vids,
yeah. He knows the script so well, being a Freemason insider, that he actually put names to it and dates as far as the whole flat earth PSYOP was concerned. And so it's run its course, and who's left, right?
So there's really not much content left on YouTube. Now there are, a few people like the Fittest Flat Earther, Mark Sargent, Eric Dubé, but they're not really doing flat Earth content. And when they do, it's pressurized pizza domism. So it's like they ignore what happened, which we figured they would. They ignored it for the whole, 8 years. We told them that this was wrong. So nothing's new under the sun there. It's interesting that it did actually take out a lot of the disinformation agents. You don't see anybody trying to figure it out. You've got the ether cosmology crew, right? You got them, which we found out, oh, wow, yeah. Aleister Crowley was all into the ether stuff. Oh, yeah, we can see what they're aligned with, right? The crew that was spun out of the Jeranism camp. You got the crew that dropped off, Melodome's crew, gone, all of them. You had, who are the other ones? Fartzoid and that whole crew, and they're not doing anything anymore. And you know what? They never really were. You had this King Nico channel, this blasphemous guy puts himself in his videos on a cross. I mean, he's got to be one of the worst. You had all the worst possible shill disinformation channels pop up to support the final experiment narrative, only to take it all down in the end. We don't see any of these channels. Robbie Davidson just plays flat Earth, ball Earth content now, right? Who else? Pat Steer was gone. She just came back for the hit piece. She did a hit piece, left, came back, and then wound it up so that she could support Jaren and then take everything down. And what we've seen really is, so they had a plan. So everybody could tell, the smart people, the intelligent people could tell that Earth wasn't what we were told, and that we never went to the moon, and that the reality that we're in is much different than what we were taught. And the only plan that they could have come up with was to say that you live in a snow globe, right? And that the sun circles around you like this, and then go to Antarctica and debunk it. And that's exactly what they tried to do.
Yeah, so Eric DeBay doesn't make flat Earth content. I mean, you sort of boiled it down. You've got Mark Sargent, Dave Weiss, Banjo's still going. I don't think Fartzoid makes flat Earth content anymore or is talking about it. So it's really, really dead. The crazy thing is this whole final false dichotomy. They send these guys down to Antarctica to see a 24-hour circling sun, and afterwards the people that are still going, the Dave Weiss, the Banjo, these types of characters, fittest flat earther, they're all still pushing a horizontal circling sun like the pressurized pizza dome pushes. So I mean, they had to come up with it was a green screen, or it was a studio, or they went to the North Pole 6 months earlier. All these types of conspiracies that were absolutely not true. I mean, we had the Vapegate and this and that, and so in the end of all that, nothing changed. Like, the people that were pushing the pressurized pizza dome, they're just 100% tone deaf and just keep going on pushing that same model that's so impossible.
Yes. So yeah, like, we can clearly see that the people that were there to disinform and gatekeep, and maybe some of them, there might be a percentage of them that are truly deceived. You've got to be the one to discern. You on the other side of the screen have to think that Joe Hanvey, who was brought out by Will Duffy and his domed ridiculous model, if you think that he's figuring out the way the realm works and how the circling sun still is happening, even though they went and filmed it doing the complete opposite of what they suggested, that's on you. So it's come down to basically two camps. You've got a camp of people that kind of believe the Earth is a virtual reality. They're calling it a simulation, and they don't want us to be right, obviously, because we're Christians. Then you've got the camp that were always there, the Nathan Thompson crew, that push complete controlled opposition disinformation. The team that Math Powerland started and set up and said exactly what they would do. They would take something that was true, then flip, invert, and twist some of it just to lead you into a debunkable fact, where they would then send in the other argument, which was Will Duffy, and mock everybody. And at the end of the day, I do believe out of the two camps, there are a large amount of people that don't believe that we live on a giant spinning sphere flying through infinite outer space. They just don't know what the model is, and they've never heard us because your channel is beyond censored. It's been sandboxed in its own internet for a very long time. I don't even know how the people are in the chat right now that have found us, and the views that we get, they take them away. Nobody comments. We don't get pushed into any of the algorithms. Nobody shares the content. So people don't even know that we exist. And the funny thing is I was in the original crew when the actual complete movement was brought out with all those people. And I was the first one that got excommunicated and ganged up on. And, Jaron called me all these names 8 years ago for telling him that the sun's actually setting, going away from you off of your map. He now goes around beating people over the head with it. And then you were there, you've seen it on Godlike Productions, and you already knew that the earth was something more. You already were saying that it was a virtual reality. So what people have now put into these camps, you have different cliques, and some people just want to do it because, they want to have a family. They want to have friends. They don't like the people around them in their lives, which is totally understandable. A lot of the people are different in this realm. So what people do is they go around and they find people that agree with the things that they agree with, just like everybody else, whether you like the same song, whether you like this thing or that thing. And then they get into these groups, and then the group says, oh, well, we believe in there's a dome and that the sun circles around our head and you can't get to the edge of the ice wall. And then the other crew says that we live on a sphere. And then Jason and I were the ones that came out and said, you live in a supernatural biblical virtual reality. And here's the proof. There's clouds behind the sun. You can't get to the end of a rainbow. You can never get to the moon or the sun or any of the luminaries because they're fixed to you. And the closer you move, the further they move away from you. And we use observations like the way that the sun interacts with planes, how a plane could be up in the sky and the sun is already set for you. And you can see the sun right on the bottom of it. There's so many different ways. We've seen the sun rise up behind trees. There's so many supernatural things that take place. The fact that water literally rests completely level, that we can use it to build a 3-mile wall with a completely level top. And the ball earthers will say, yeah, we believe that that's perfectly level, but it's curving. It's level, it's curved to the center of the earth. And we've been having these debates and we've been carrying this on, and here we are. And, the most interesting thing, Jason, as I throw it back to you, I know you're about ready to move us to our next scene, was after the final experiment was finished, I told McToon, one of the characters, Michael is his name. We don't know his real name. He hides it. He doesn't tell anybody his real name because he's got something to hide, right? Not me or you. We challenged him to a debate over all of the experiments they did, right? And that they didn't support the sphere Earth, that they actually supported the biblical stereographic virtual reality. And they cowered from us. It was McToon, that's his name, Looney Tune, and Fight the Fat Earth, Craig McNeil. They both cowered out. First, they agreed to the debate, and then they cowered down. And I ask you on the other side of the screen, if you went to Antarctica and filmed the sun up in the sky, never setting, would you be afraid to debate anybody in this realm with your evidence if that's what you truly believed?
Shouldn't be.
Ready? You want me to keep going?
Yeah. No, you want to tell everybody about the challenge that you've?
Yeah, well, I haven't received a response yet, but I have challenged McToon to a full-on debate. And this time I've allowed to go on their platform. What is it? The Modern Day Debate channel. And I've challenged him on reciprocal zenith angles. So I'm really excited, everybody. This is the first time this is being put out to the internet. I'm ready to get in the ring. If he doesn't want to take on me to deal with the shape of reality or, actual biblical reality, his favorite proof, and when we had Yahweh's son, Jerry, went on his podcast, he told Jerry finally did an excellent job, got him to say what he believed would prove to him that he didn't live on a sphere. And his one ball earth proof that he clings on to, that he holds like he thinks is the most valuable piece of information in the world, is what he calls reciprocal zenith angles. So I'm really excited to let everybody know that I can get in the ring and absolutely destroy him. He's an absolute clown, and everything that he holds on to as truth is actual ridiculous nonsense. And I'm ready to show the whole world.
Yeah, there is a video forthcoming on that topic, but yeah, Ron, you hopefully we can get McToon to accept the debate. We've got people in here that say he's not going to. We got to challenge his ego. We got to do whatever it takes to get his feathers ruffled to the point that he's willing to accept that challenge. I mean, this was his go-to when Jerry pressed him, and it was, what would you accept? This is what he said. So I can't wait.
First, we talked about, challenging the experiments that he helped create. Him, Reds Retarded, the whole team, Sean Double D Hufford, they came up with these tests, and they sent Dave McKeegan and his dog there to film it, and they did a great job. They filmed it and confirmed that you live in a virtual reality, right? They showed exactly what we expected them to show. Jason, you were the only person to actually make correct predictions, to give azimuths and angles, rise and sets, where the sun would be the entire time. It was dismissed because Will said it was globe Earth modeling, which is the most ridiculous thing ever, because it was on a flat surface, hovering above a flat plane with the shadows actually working. Okay, so
not only that, keep in mind that if it was a globe Earth model, that you would need to have a screen approximately what is it, 16 miles, 21 miles in diameter in order to project Mercury, the smallest of the so-called planets, at the size of 1 centimeter.
It's a scale, right? You're talking about, they don't have a model. They go around mocking flat earthers. And the only people that these guys will actually get into the ring with are flurfs that believe flurftardia, that they think that the sun is circling above their heads, never rising or setting, and absolute ridiculousness. They can't actually get into a ring with an opponent that actually has a stable, strong, founded argument, because they just crumble. All they do is mock, ridicule, and make fun of people, and their time's up. Their time is up. It's been up for a long time. It's been over a year now. We told Will Duffy, MC Toon, Craig McNeil, they all knew just long before they even did the experiment. We said, you go do the experiment and we will have a debate when it's done. And sure enough, we set up the debate and they clowned out. They cowered out. They ran like chickens. And here we are. And this time, let's just debate one thing now, right? Reciprocal zenith angles.
I really hope everybody, please press to get the accepted debate. It would be a blast.
Get on Michael Toon's stream, ask him, continue to say, hey, did you check your email? Modern day debates, did you let's do it Christmas or Christmas Eve. Let's do it in the holiday. Let's do it as soon as possible. We need to have this debate. And it's simple. He just needs to show the observation in a real world of a reciprocal zenith angle test, showing that the measurements equal what the globe Earth would demand. Not a diagram, not a graphic, just that. It's simple. And he already has like a whole website showing it, right? So it should be really easy. So everybody, please stay tuned in. I think this is going to be the greatest debate of all time. And I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. Let's switch over to the screen share here. And I want to bring up something that got stuck into a video. So we like to document everything. And I caught this thing from RV Truth. And so this went into a video July 27th of 2024. This is all about the Union Glacier thing, the final experiment. Let's talk about these characters that are up on the screen right now. What's happening with Witsit?
Great question. Where is he? So he was one of the main participants that Scaremanism said that he wouldn't go unless his buddy Witsit came with him, right? So he got added to the final experiment. Supposedly Will Duffy paid for him and Jaron and another guy and himself. And after he came back, it was just this crazy debacle. He ended up being this abusive husband. He got divorced from his wife. He was supposed to go on Candace Owens' show. Remember, Candace Owens sent her producer, right, of her podcast. And he never went on the podcast. He did like these self-help. He started to try and sell like some kind of, vitamins. And next thing you know, Witsit's gone.
Poof, gone. Alex Stein. What's the latest on Alex?
So I saw Alex Stein. I joined his podcast a couple days ago, last week, And he booted me off as soon as he heard the Limitless channel. He was saying that he was struggling. And I said, you know what, man, I'm struggling too. You don't see me out here. Click. He's only one podcaster can struggle here. He hung up on me. He knew what I was about to ask him. How are you struggling if TPUSA and Glenn Beck has been paying you for the last 5 years? So I heard Alex Stein actually on a ex Twitter account where they were breaking down rigged sports. Believe it or not, Alex is in. He's got his big nose in just about everything you could possibly imagine. So he's still out. He's still going, but I have not heard him say that the earth is flat. And nor did he ever, with conviction, ever give any true flat earth stuff, never put out any good information. All he ever did was disinform people and mock it.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the association. It was Alex Stein got his start on Jeranism's Baby Truther show. And so it was Alex Stein. He showed his credentials. He has on his business card the Freemason logo, and he is a Freemason, everybody. And so he went from the Baby Truther show, where all of a sudden he got picked up and went big with Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
Is that who?
He says he got fired.
Yeah. Well, so he got the big fame. He got launched up, all of a sudden hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And now he's a talking head in the whole rigged politics thing, right?
Well, rigged politics, rigged sports. Like I said, I caught him on a podcast on Twitter with a bunch of shills, and maybe some people that are not shills. I haven't completely figured all of it out yet. I'm still looking. I just couldn't believe here's Alex Stein, you know, so everywhere that he can get his big nose in, Alex has got it. What was he podcasting from the Dallas library? He had a stream going on. You know, it's just crazy how these guys get set up and knocked down. It's too much. We'll see where he continues to go. He's still a speaker for TPUSA, right? So we'll see. He could be Charlie Kirk, right? Which we thought might happen. He could be the next Charlie Kirk. We'll see. But so you've got Whitsitt, you've got Alex Stein. So Whitsitt's gone. Stein is still on the scene, but he's really lost a lot of his credibility. Now, he denied, if we're talking about the final experiment, on Tim Pool, he got Tim Pool involved in this. Like, I mean, Will got so much promotion. Everybody that had a YouTube channel, a Twitter channel, a TikTok channel, everybody supported this guy, Will Duffy, in this final experiment. Alex Stein had Tim Pool offer to send Alex Stein to Antarctica, pay for the whole trip, all of it, done. And Alex, he declined. He said no. He was too scared to go. He acted like a coward. That was his public play. And he never went.
No. And then this character here. So
Ooh.
what's the state of Jeranism?
So he's doing a new channel now, not doing so well. I think it's called Interestingism. I wouldn't be surprised if he's added the isms. He adds isms to everything. So he's still off doing
a cult leader. Remember, the isms are all. Yeah,
Jaren is a deist. He considers himself God, right? With the G, right? He uses that word. So Jaren started a new channel, and he basically, instead of just going after flat earthers, he goes after anybody that puts out disinformation or stupid conspiracy theories, like Fittest Flat Earther, people on X, people on Rumble, people on Twitter. He just goes after them and tries to like basically bitch out them and overstand them. And his energy is just, I don't even know how he got to where he is. It's so toxic. Now, I will say the good things about Jaren, right? He was really overweight, right? Not as overweight as, you know, I've been in my life, but he was super overweight when he was in Behind the Curve, which is, you know, that's probably why he got, you know, put on the cover of the mockumentary. He got in really good shape. Now, I hope he's not Ozempic out, but he's gotten in good shape. He takes care of himself. He's got a family now. He's taking care of his son. So there's good things with scamism. And then the bad things is that he continues to mock, ridicule, put down anything that he possibly can. He continues to show how the final experiment supposedly debunked the fact that we live on a flat stationary plane, which is ridiculous. He just debunked a fake pressurized model with the pizza dome over a flat AE map, United Nations circling sun nonsense, which was already debunked.
The absurdity is you brought it to him 8 years ago. I talked to him about it like 8 years ago.
And you also had Dave Weiss too.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until he went to Antarctica, that all of a sudden the things that we were saying to him all along, making videos about, fighting, publicly about this, all of a sudden he's using the same lines we've been using. No, the sun can't be going around like this down there, right?
But saying it proves that he lives on a sphere, right? We heard him use literally that his observation, he was on the bottom of a ball. He literally says that to people. And if
upside down.
Yeah, if you do the modeling and you actually put yourself on the bottom of a ball and then you scale the sun out 90 million miles away and then you try to circle it around you don't get anything like what they actually observed. What they actually observed was a local sun 3 to 6 miles away, depending on elevation, circling specifically around them, right?
Well, more like 15. It comes up behind the horizon. And so it's not until you get the farther view. So if you go up in an airplane, you get a larger and larger circle of sight. And then that's when the sun doesn't go all the way out to the horizon anymore as far as its circular path around the observer. Now all of a sudden you have the sun coming up in front of the horizon when you have the larger circle of sight. So the best I've been able to estimate, and based on the maps and the models that I made as far as the shadows were concerned in Union Glacier, I estimate that the sun was probably circling their camp around them at what we would say is 15 miles.
Yeah.
Now you can't drive 15 miles and get to it because it's always centered around you, right?
It's locked to your elevation. Now again, if we look at the elevation of where they were, it would probably be conducive to that 15-mile radius that the sun would be traveling around them. It in no way proved that they live on a ball. And the funniest thing was, everybody, when I went on and joined Will's debate, which was nothing but a mockery, it wasn't a debate anyway, I said to him, when did you go to the South Pole? His entire premise that he set up this final experiment was that there was a South Pole, and he didn't even go to it. He said, we ran out of money, because it was only one more flight, right? So the company that they went with also has a chartered flight from where they went. You go to, the Edmondson Scott? I don't know. Jaron knows all the different bases. He's part of the military.
I think it is Edmondson Scott
at the South Pole. And, sure enough, Will Doofus screwed the whole thing up. All he had to do was go to the actual South Pole. And the other thing was, if they waited 1 week, they would have been actually able to film the moon too. And listen, everybody, this place that we live in is so amazing. It's so supernatural. And they got to experience some of the most incredible footage, scenes. And sadly, they didn't go to the South Pole. Their whole entire experiment was to prove that there was a South Pole.
Yeah, so one of the things that we suggest is probably the reason why they didn't go is because if they would have gone down there and actually shown the sun go around a full 360 degrees at a horizontal circle, right, not a tilted one.
No.
If we had that would be the evidence that the Earth is not on a 23.5 degree tilt.
Yes.
Right?
It would have destroyed the heliocentric model. So they had to be so careful. Listen, if you're tuning in here, I just wanted to let you know you are in a super exclusive club. The best thing that you could possibly do is to share this podcast with as many people as you know that are entertaining the idea that the Earth could be flat, or if you think that they believe that Will Duffy actually ran the final experiment. They need to hear what we're saying. They really do. So what Jason's just beautifully put, right, what I was pointing to, is that if they had have conducted the experiment correctly and went to the absolute South Pole, there would have been multiple tests that they could have done. Right. One, they could have showed us what happens with a compass. Right. Obviously, huge red flag gets thrown at that point because you realize, oh, wait, the magnetic supposed part of Earth isn't at the South Pole. So that doesn't work with a spherical model either. Right. And the second thing is they would have realized that there's no 23.5 degree tilt. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the other big issues that we also need to address, that we constantly address, which we will before we're end of tonight, Jason. I know we're just lot of this podcast is just going to be like a vocal podcast version.
Mhm.
Is that on the equinox twice a year, the sun rises due east and due west for everybody in reality, right? This doesn't work geometrically on a sphere, nor does it actually align with the heliocentric model. It's actually when they went to Antarctica, right, during the solstice, that you would actually have the pole, the earth, and the alignment of the sun happen so that you could have a due east, due west rise, which they absolutely did not.
No, absolutely not. So we've got this up here because I documented this Russian vids thing that he put out in a podcast. And I want you to hear the script, everybody, from one of the Freemason New World Order agents, RV. After the demolition of the Freemason New World Order pressurized pizza dome model, this is what he has to say regarding that.
2015 to 2025 is basically what the plan was. They wanted to run this flat Earth is a truth, but with their fake flat earthers, they want
fake flat earthers. So that is referring to everybody that push the circular sun doing a horizontal circle around a single pole model. Those are the fake flat earthers. So catch that again. That was 2015 to 2025. And he's spot on about those dates.
this divide and conquer, and they had a timeline of 10 years. So 9/11 was 10 years, flat earth was 10 years. And they're going to just dump off. There's going to be remnants.
For those that missed it, the whole revealing of 9/11 was the years of 2004 to 2014. And then 2015, it switched to flat earth. And like he's saying, they were given 10 years for that PSYOP. And 2025, they pulled the plug.
Such as myself, Flat Earth Warriors, Flat Earth Banjo, Nathan Oakley. I'm sure Eric Dubé.
It's funny that you put, what's his name? Benny Plishenko. You actually put his face on the screen. I mean, I don't know why people think that they can be anonymous and then so-called be truth speakers, right? You really lose all credibility when you don't show yourself, no matter what condition you're in. And you know what? If you're not in your best condition, putting yourself up on the screen actually gives you motivation, right? So here's RV. So RV was one of those guys that was given the ability and the nod, the wink, the hand to go around and to decode Freemason symbolism. He was one of the first. Jason, I know you learned a lot of the Freemasonry nonsense from RV. So channels like
I learned it from him.
Channels like RV. What's the other one? A Call for an Uprising. You've got these channels. What they do is they go around continuing to promote and cast all of these wicked, vile energies, all these symbolisms, but they do teach them. It's called the externalization of the hierarchy, right? They've been allowed to go around, and he's done it for over a decade now. He was a truth speaker making content before I was. There's only a few. Him, who was it? Max Malone was another one. Jeff C, who's gone, and the rest of the crew are gone. There's no one left. Flip Flap in the chat might be one of the only people. YD was there, but still. So let's get back on track here. So
you know what's hilarious is Pat Steer called him a balloon head.
She did. She called him balloon head. Well, he was fighting with him and High Impacts Flicks and who were all these shills. They all started, Dave Weiss, they all started infighting together. So what they did in the hoaxing community that called out the conspiracies and the fake bang bangs, what they did was they infiltrated into the communities and then started big fights. And I guess people do fight on their own too. Egos always get involved in views and popularity. This was before when 300 would be the average views that would be on a live stream that I was participating in. This was when we actually had a crew. So RV, Max Malone, Press Reset Earth. There was a bunch of these guys. Jeff C. What they did was Max Malone, they all splintered off and started infighting, and it destroyed the whole community. They're long gone. Everybody's gone. And what they did with the Flat Earth community was the same thing. Long before Will Duffy came out, it was RV, Brian from High Impact Flicks, Jaronism, David Weiss, they all started this big fight. We covered it extensively. Jason's got it documented. If you've got some free time, you might want to go down and look. I think it's the Satanism Exposed series. It's got that in it.
So Richie from Boston.
All of them. Everybody was documented. Jake the asshole, everybody, all of them. They're all in there. You can go and check it out. What we started doing right from the beginning was documenting all of this. That's what we were really excited to do. We knew what was going on. We seen what they were doing. We started documenting it. And we do it for free. We do this because this is our passion project. This is what we love to do. So we've got RV comes out here. This was before the final experiment, and he told everybody that they were on contract for a decade, right? Eric Dubé, all these characters, they were given views, they were given platforms, they were given subs, they were given all this stuff, and they were to shill. And then finally, when the narrative against them was to come out that the AE circling map and sun was wrong, they all quit, right? Most of them. He was saying Banjo, Flat Earth Warrior is gone. I don't know what he's saying there. Here's a name that we haven't brought up tonight. Nathan Oakley. There's a channel that is still very active. Does a stream almost a day. Sells mics. His crew had a big falling out not long ago, which is probably needed because they've got a lot of shills in there, right? A lot of people that are puffed up. They think they know too much. And they had a big fight. And it came down to money over a quote unquote supposed book. Some of them were helping them write this book, and we were excited. Put the book out, right? Come on in our podcast and share it. So I frequently go on to Nathan's streams. They scream that Earth is measured flat. They just do it constantly over and over. They
measured flat.
They'll stand right on that spot and they'll fight anybody. Measured flat, and that's their thing, and that's what they want to do. I'm not really going to say too much about that negatively. Just that there's more to the whole argument than just that. So we've got Eric Dubé, Nathan Oakley, Banjo is still going. What Banjo does is he was smart enough to start taking people from other platforms because the YouTube scene, that was the first one that got killed. Remember, they had that big government meeting and they asked the lady from YouTube, what are you going to do? How are you going to stop the flat Earth movement? And she came on and said, we're going to put a banner below the videos and it's going to say that Earth is not flat and it's going to lead you to Wikipedia. And they started deboosting. They started basically, we call it sandboxing. If anyone's new here, there's a big beach out here. We're on it. This is the internet, the beach. And what they did was they started putting sandboxes around certain channels that weren't allowed to interact with the rest of the people on the beach. And anybody that said the word flat Earth, and still today, us saying it, you can see what'll happen is people will click on this and then it'll get taken away, the view. Another person will click on it, the view will be taken away. What they've done to us for about a decade almost now is any time that somebody subscribes to us and they don't watch our content for 2 or 3 days, they get unsubscribed. And the method that they use is just so evil, right? So back to the point here. They had 10 years, what you're showing here, they had a 10-year movement where they were supposed to go out and shill that the Earth was flat. And there was a sun that circled in the sky, never setting, right? And like, how ridiculous of a lie is that? Everybody that's ever lived has literally watched a huge sun, right, with your own eyes, no tools, rise up from the ground above your head, depending on where you are, pretty high in the sky, and then set back into the ground. Every single person alive. No one has ever seen a sun. There was no footage that was verifiable and real and documented of a sun that never set. Not until Will Duffy.
Yeah, so we've got the timetable. We've got these characters, Banjo, Nathan Oakley, Eric Dubé. So these guys were the ones that RV was able to name that have longer contracts that would go beyond 2025. But like Ron mentioned, the measured flat, that doesn't go anywhere. Eric Dubé is just, I don't know, he doesn't do flat. He doesn't do flat Earth. I mean, when's the last time you saw a flat Earth video from him?
He puts out the odd one, maybe one every couple of months. He just did some stupid movie where they were mocking flat Earth in it.
Yeah. And then guys like Banjo are just 100% the pressurized pizza dome shills. That's
Yeah. You know what, Jason? Again, I will put an olive branch out to anybody who still believes the earth is flat. You can come on our show. We can communicate anytime you want. We can show you all the data, all the evidence, and everything that we have. And you can be informed with what we know. We've been at this for just as long as everybody else that's been at this for a long time. All of these people. And unfortunately, because they all believed that they lived in a pressurized pizza dome, we came around and popped their pizza dome, right? Pop, let all the air out of it. You don't have multiple pressures in a pressurized container. You've got one pressure. There's only one valve stem on a tire, people. There's not 10 valve stems, so you know which different pressures are inside of a containment. And so if you're out here and you're watching this, you're Eric Dubay, you're David White, you're anybody, Mark Sargent, we even had him on. It's time we move ahead with the truth and actually start getting back to what's right.
So let's get the rest of this this revealing of the narrative from RV out.
Flat Earth Warriors, Flat Earth Banjo, Nathan Oakley. I'm sure Eric Dubay. I don't see him stopping. I'm not a mind reader or have a crystal ball to tell the future, but that's basically how I look at it. They're doing it 10 years at a time. So what I'm getting at is this. I don't want to say it's stale. This is a very important topic, but what they want to do is
move in another direction
after 10 years. And that's kind of like what I see. And there's going to be the fake flat earthers jumping off from what I can tell. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but that's the writings on the wall. I'll get more of that.
So how good was he able to predict the future with this?
He's pretty on. Yeah, he got it pretty close.
He was pretty on. What do you say we take a quick break and then we... All right.
I try to see when the day is falling by the west side. Let it be. I try to feel a sense of harmony and all the crowds alive. It's a battle of surprise and all the crowds alive. It's a battle of... I try to know when the heart is saying what it's needing. Meditate and find a way to always find. It seems right now my dreams fell off. Chill out, take it easy. It's not a good day. Chill out, take it easy. It's not a good day. Chill out, take it easy. It's not a good day. Like it, always gonna be a situation. Try to keep it down and keep it off my mind. Good things will come in time. It's the battles. Make moves. Silent aspiration of a big thing. Always gonna be another problem. A machine that never moves. Chill out, take it easy. It's not a good day. Chill out, take it easy. It's not a good day. Chill out, take it easy. It's not a good day.
And we are back. So I think what we're going to do now is a little bit of live research, and this is a place where the chat can participate. We want to go through and really show y'all what's out there and what's taking place. And if you got somebody that you think is making flat earth content, we'll bring it up, we'll check it out. And I want flat earth content in my feed. I really do.
So the first person that's brought something up is Brian Cash 1405. He's talking about the Ether guys over on X Spaces. I think they've got what's called Friday Night Flat Earth or whatever. Yeah, here it is. That's
them, right?
Yeah. Maybe it could be another crew. Well, let's see what he says.
Yeah. So it is in my subscription feed.
Sadly, those guys promote the pressurized pizza dome.
Absolutely. But I could scroll for a very long time until I came across another flat earth video. So you said, let's go check out Mark K. Sargent's.
Well, he's the one who has started the clues. So after Eric Dubay came out and got popular, Mark Sargent became a channel and put out the clues. And the clues were kind of great because they actually talked about Earth possibly being a virtual reality. He was the only channel.
Everything was from a game design standpoint, right?
From a game design standpoint. And he quickly went away from that and still, he stays pretty neutral, but all the people that create content, they get brought on to Mark Sargent's show. So all we have to do basically is click on live. And they also talk about meetups on his video tab. But on his live channel, all we have to do is scroll through and look at the names. You can see who the characters are.
I just want to point out something before we go. He's got the check mark.
He got it.
Right?
Huh?
So he is YouTube verified. He is a flat earther that he's got the seal of approval from YouTube. Did you say that him and Pat actually went to YouTube?
Yeah, they did a lot of corresponding. Mark, look at that. Look at that. There's a channel with us. So Mark came on our podcast. I set it up. It was time that we had Mark on, and it was a good podcast, right? Since then, we sort of, haven't really talked to them or been around that crew. We were supposed to go on and talk about the debate that McToon and Craig McNeil cowarded out of. So that never took place. So here we go. The most recent Strange World podcast was JT Follows JC, who is one of these TikTok channels, right? Everybody got famous on TikTok. Good for them, right? You can also find me there, the Limitless channel. I'm on TikTok. But he went on there, and he's a flat earther, but I believe he's earth shape agnostic. He doesn't really have a model. You'll have to watch the podcast and find out more. But he's one of those Satan's Little Season guys, which is crazy. Yeah,
that's become the hot new topic, right?
Amongst Christianity. The online instead of the rapture. And again, he's kind of not with the rapture, so that's good. He gets a check mark for that. But so he's there. He's a guy that's pushing the earth is flat and that the great tribulation and the millennial reign is over, right? Christ has already been crowned king. All the wicked was removed. And we're at the end of the millennial reign where Satan's allowed to go around deceiving us again. That's what he's teaching. We'll be doing more content on that too. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I mean, how many of you all have heard we're in Satan's little season within, I would say, the last 2 months, last 6 months? I mean, it's really popped off. And, there's even a good chance that there's a new fundamental truth coming down the pipeline because of it, right? What else? What else do you want to point out from?
So in the chat, Brian Cash, please, after the podcast is done, leave a link to the Twitter space. He's saying they don't actually claim pressurized pizza dome. So that's great. If that's the case, then there's, an option for us to get involved and meet new people. So let's go back to what you were saying, brother. I know you're scrolling. We've already gotten past a bunch of names. So if you scroll back up, who do we have here? Strange World 541 was just a call-in show. No.
This one had Mikey and Aubrey.
If you actually click on, they're an interesting channel. they've got an interesting story. But if you go back to instead of that one first, if we go to the JT follows JC, we can hear from Nathan Thompson. So Nathan Thompson came out onto the scene. Him and ODD were doing all this stuff together, and he basically did some flat Earth mockumentaries. He was one of the first, and Nathan Thompson was going around. Him and his girlfriend were caught. They were talking about drinking blood, right? Just some of the craziest possible stuff. He was totally doing just the most discreditable things you could ever imagine. So he's still here. He's still promoting absolute impossible things. There's his trailer. That's his motorhome right there, I think, that you had on the screen. You might have missed it. There he is. Let's hear a little from Nathan Thompson. He's one of the biggest flat Earth shills. He goes by Enoch of TikTok. He's going to have to pay for that.
Background for him, and we'll show it off.
Nathan?
Look at this. Look at that, Nathan. We got a special background just for you.
So they made an animated background.
Where in the world is Nathan E. Thompson?
Yep.
And
where are you at? Where are you at these days, Nathan?
I'm in Southern California. I actually got a couple pictures to show you guys real quick.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Let me turn my camera around. If I can do that. Back camera. Yep. Look who I got to hang out with on my birthday.
Hey, look at that.
That's right.
And Daryl right here is Flat Earth Farms, Northern California. He's probably not bad, but everyone knows Daryl is freaking coolest guy ever. Here's a quick. Oh, on my birthday, the bartender was a flat earther.
So you can see what that is. That's the first learned
apprentice
of the Freemasonry symbol. This doesn't mean flat Earth. That means apprentice, first level flat Earth of Freemasonry, going up to the 33rd. So what you need to know is that Nathan Thompson drives around the country. I don't even know how this is possible, but he goes to flat Earth people's homes and then charges up all his stuff. It's just insanity. The funniest thing is he's never been to Austin, and he's never talked to us. We would have come on by. We'll have Nathan here. Come by, charge up your stuff. If you're a real character and you're not a shill, why has he never come to Austin? Austin is like the greatest city in the whole world. How is he not? It might be. I think it is.
Yeah.
Get him some brisket, bro. Oh, is he a vegan? I don't know. He might be a vegan.
Yeah, he drinks blood. I don't know if
he might have stopped.
I don't know if we're going to eat at the same restaurant.
He might have stopped drinking blood. This would be the chance for him to come clean, let everybody know what's going on. We could do a podcast with him live. It would be great.
He saw my sweater and he goes, "Dude, Earth is flat. I already know." And I mean, look how happy he is to take a picture with us. I thought that was pretty cool. So
that's so cool.
We are everywhere. Absolutely, that's wonderful.
And
this is Gio eating some pizza real quick.
So he's homeless, but he's got a dog, I guess. Pause it. I want everybody to know, if you're tuned into a YouTube channel and they're constantly showing their dog, you are being psyoped with MK Ultra Tavistock mind control programming. What they do is they get these dogs. They're basically like a familiar in witchcraft. If you know what witches, they have animals that are around them, and they use it to lull you into a trustability center so that you'll give in, you'll like them, you'll think they're better humans.
Oh, he's not a bad person, right?
Yeah, he's got a dog. Look how much he loves this dog, right? You could just think of the characters: Jake the Asshole, Dave McKeegan, Nathan Thompson. Anybody that's so animal centric, there's an absolute reason, and YouTube actually promotes it. YouTube will actually promote you. So here he is. He's got his dog inside the bar, feeding the dog crust, which is, this is not good for a dog. This is heavily processed food, you son of a... The dog should eat dog food, right? Not processed. You know how much sugar is in dough that's been cooked? This is horrible to give to a dog. But here he is.
He's the cutest flat Earth mascot.
He's the best. And I'll switch back to front camera.
We haven't seen DJ
so
in a
California. I might go to St. George, Utah for Christmas. That's where my family is. So we'll do a meetup in St. George if I end up out there. If people in Southern California want to get together for a meetup, I don't know, this weekend. I don't know if
it's
DJ's free,
too, pause it.
But I might stick around.
So
if
the tinfoil hat crew. So I believe there's a paralyzed guy. I did have him on my Facebook for a while, but it was such toxic posts. that I had to unsubscribe. I had to unfollow. I had to get away from these people. Him and his wife created this company where they sell hats that say tinfoil. And again, it's one of these things where they got shirts that say, we're not retarded. I mean, don't put this nonsense out there. How can you think? And then it gets popularized. So it's not even tinfoil that people use to stop signals. If you wrap your phone in aluminum foil really well, sometimes 2 layers, you won't receive signal in or out. Nobody can track you. They can't get any more of a signal to your phone. It works, but it's not tinfoil. It's aluminum foil. And it was the CIA that made up the term conspiracy theorist. They also made up the term tinfoil hatters. So these guys go around wearing tinfoil hats.
Yeah, clownery. Freemason buffoons. If we go back to Mark's channel, one of the advantages that we have is we've got at least 10 different topics that we cover. And so we cover flat earth, we cover virtual reality, we cover the Bible. We're Christians as well. And this is where we have issues, where we have problems with this crew, is they promote this biblical cosmology, and they use the single pole pressurized pizza dome, which is impossible.
Yeah.
And then they say that's what the Bible promotes, right?
Yeah, that heavily. And we haven't got to that thumbnail yet. And they do a little bit more damage than just that, this crew over here. Like I said, it's been a while. We haven't seen DJ. We haven't seen Mark. We don't see these people ever come in. And you'd think if they were into actually fighting for the truth of the flat earth and biblical cosmology, that they'd want to have us a little more involved in the community. But they, we were pretty hardcore at documenting people's shillery. So they're not with us. And as you can see here, he's got the AI working, Mark. He's getting all of his thumbnails created. Maybe it's cheaper than paying someone else to do it, or maybe he always did it. But so he's got the AI making the thumbnails. So there's the biblical cosmology crew that you're talking about. So if we zoom in on that, or if you click on it and click in and just pause it while they're all on, because not all of them I know, but now I do, right? So they've got a mixture of guys from TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, because again, YouTube scene has been dead for almost 6 years. You've got Run Boston Bear, who never shows up, won't come anywhere near us, claims to be a Christian, right? Another one of these guys that claims to be a Christian, apparently out of the Owen Benjamin camp. You got Joe Hanvey, who was brought out by Will Duffy. That's when he came onto the scene.
Brought out by Will Duffy.
On Will Duffy's channel, literally. And his ridiculous dome behind him that was utterly destroyed at the same time. You got Mark Sargent, who I don't believe Mark actually claims to be a Christian. He's not. He knows a lot about Christianity. He's well read up. He studied the Bible. Above him, you have Sean, right? What do you know about Sean?
Isn't he the guy that says that angels are circumcised?
Yeah, well, he tried to, and then he wanted to debate me over it. And I told him, how could something that doesn't have a physical body or a sexual gender, right, get circumcised? And
ridiculous.
Yeah, he twists and manipulates scripture to feed whatever narrative he's trying to support, right? So he would debate.
But he was embedded immediately in the storyline with Will Duffy.
Yeah, he was. So Will went on his show and he asked Will if he knew who was doing the final experiment, and Will said no, right? So Will was the first one to lie to was Sean, right? So he's the Kingdom in Context channel. He's been verified for a very long time. Him and his wife were, Judaizers for a very long time, strictly into the Torah.
Think still are.
Yeah, keeping the commandments, the Sabbath, the dietary laws, to each their own. If that's what you want to do, if your channel wants to be dedicated to that, that's fine. I tried to reach out to him as a brother, and he shot me down. He didn't want to have anything to do with me. He ignored me. He never responded. I said, let's figure this out. Let's do a stream, right? Let's talk all this stuff out like brothers. He didn't want anything to do with it. Then you got DJ, who has been in the chat before. Says some great things. Sometimes he's had some amazing rants, right? And then there's other times where I feel like he's living a bit of a double life and contradicting himself at the same time. And, it's a terrible thing when we do this because The teachings of Christ, these were some of the most important things. Not to be a hypocrite was one of the strongest teachings that Christ had. And I really hope that DJ can work on not being hypocritical. And then the guy on the left, did you want to say anything about any of these guys?
Let's see. As far as DJ, yeah, he invited us on to Mark's show, and we haven't accepted. We said we would do it after debating Toon and Craig, but then they bailed, and we just put the information out. He's got the background where I guess he was a Jehovah's Witness maybe up until the age he was 13 or 14, something like that. So there's a common background. I could talk to him there. Nothing against the guy, except he's a replacement for Pat Steer. And this whole thing is they've been promoting the pressurized pizza dome. And so I'm totally against that.
Yeah, that's the most of the hypocritical things, right? And other things as well. But this is for DJ to learn and discover on his own. And the one last thing I can say is that DJ is one of those guys that doesn't believe that there's any absolute truths. He's says that it's, all of our own interpretations, and that he wants to believe a little in this and a little in that. And he doesn't believe that, because he was brought up in the Jehovah Witness community, he's got one of these, ex-Jehovah Witness attitudes. And Jason, you can understand that better than anyone else. And then you have Josh Monday, this Christian conspiracy podcast who simps up to David Weiss. It's just gross. If you just listen to the way the guy talks, and you just have to watch this podcast and catch the character. The most important character on here, pushing the most disinformation, I would have to say, is Joe Hanvey. He was brought out by Will Duffy, involved in the final experiment. Over and over again, Will used him to mock, ridicule, and to destroy what people in their congregations and all their groups and all their communities believed, that the earth was flat. And they used it by having him come out and act like an absolute buffoon with this dome that's behind him. He would, shine lights on it. He would do all this stuff, and it's a refracting, super fluish moving around and backwards, illuminating from underneath. It's just garbage. None of it is replicable. None of it matters or matches in reality.
The thing that supercharges me is the fact that he calls it physical, right? So he's got a physical model of the sun and moon. And what do they say about the sun and the moon? They're not physical. Oh, so you got a physical model of something that's not physical.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. All right. So we've shown the path of the luminaries around the observer, and it's provable that they're actually rising from Earth and setting into Earth in a person's circle of sight. They're not rotating thousands of miles overhead. That's an absurdity.
As the Bible demands. So the sun rises, and so too as it sets, right? That's how Dean Odell was kicked out of the debate, right? Do you remember the debate that he did?
For denying the sun sets.
The rises and sets. Like you have to be really, really open-minded, and you have to be really, really patient and listen with your heart and listen with your ears to what people are saying and what they believe in to find the truth out here. And again, I like DJ. Sean, I tried to deal with, talk to, come to a common ground. Joe Hanvey, there's no way he would ever entertain a conversation with us. Blocked, censored, never, nothing, right? Because we could 10 days to Sunday, we could destroy his map, his model, his dome. All he's got is these cameras and everything, and he never produces any footage. He's never put up any star trails. Anything good ever has come out of that channel except for shining lights on top of domes. And then Run Boston Bear. So the flat earth, if we go back to the Mark's thumbnail, please, not trying to tell you what to do or direct you, but this is leading me to my next script. Part of this script is that they had a conference. So it's been a while. Karen B quit. Karen B, self-proclaimed witch. She was the one who was brought in after Robbie Davidson quit doing the conferences, which were mostly, it looked to me like CIA Fed setup operations where everybody would go there and they would be as clownery as they could. Nathan Thompson wore a globe on his head. We're not crazy. Or with Dick Hummer had everybody stand underneath the sign and say, we're not retarded. So they finally had another conference, and Run Boston Bear, he went to the conference and set up this really good, clear picture, really good camera, and then turned off the live stream. They didn't produce it. They didn't share any of it. There was a room full of people selling merchandise and speakers, and we didn't see a crowd of people there, maybe 20 or 30 people in the video that Run Boston Bear showed. It just blew my mind. I'm thinking to myself, Jason, they've got this amazing technology here, this super high quality footage. The live stream's the clearest it's ever been on any of their conferences. And then as soon as the speaker starts, Run Boston Bear turns it off. So they've yet to produce the footage. Nobody's put up the videos from this conference. And also this crew that's cosmology guys, mixed in with all of them, they believe in things like Bigfoot. They believe in things like aliens. Look at the thumbnail right there that Mark's got on. So they're constantly slipping in subtle imprints of things that are completely against the biblical cosmology, as well as the characters involved here. If you look a little closer, you're going to see that they're actually targeting people that don't really align with biblical teachings either.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do we got? David Weiss is still out here doing what he does. I don't know if we're missing anything from the chat. Nobody's really saying anything. We've got
he's Flat Earth Dave now, right?
Flat Earth Dave changed his name because his DITRH got destroyed as all this disgusting symbolism. He had the swirl. You can see it on the thing. It's a hypnotist device that he had his logo on that, Jaron helped him do. And it was Alice in Wonderland satanic symbolism. It's like a circle with a, spiral. So he does interviews. Matt Long, there's another character that quit.
Gone.
Wrote a book. Said he was like a teacher on biblical cosmology, and he quit. I guess he's off. He's got a big family that he takes care of. But David Weiss is still out here pushing his content, pushing his disinformation.
The app and that model. So anybody asks him, how does day and night work? He says the sun goes around horizontal, right? Yep. And I just want to bring this up here quick. We've made it real easy for everyone. There's only 3 options for day and night, right? Just 3 options. We have 3D space, and there's only 3 ways that this can possibly exist. And so the first one I have on here is the spinning balls. That would be geocentrism or heliocentrism. So the geocentrism, we're on a ball, and either we're spinning and all the stars are fixed, or all the stars are spinning and we're fixed, right? That's one option. The heliocentrism, they've got everything going all wild and crazy. And this is extremely debunkable because there is no parallax. It would be everywhere all the time.
Everywhere.
But then the second style of day and night would be what, all the flat earthers heard, these horizontal circles, and it's coming towards you and going away from you, which it's observably not, right? You can use any stick, any pole, and watch the shadow, and you can clearly see that it's not coming towards you or going away from you. And then there's the third option. That's the equidistant circles, where it's rotating around you, but it's actually rising from a plane and setting into a plane. And then the only way that can be described is the fact that we're in a VR, and that physical isn't atoms. It isn't, everything didn't come from a big bang.
No.
And
came from a programmer.
Matter is atoms, and then atoms attract each other. Mass attracts mass, and then all of a sudden you have gravity. That's not the way Earth is made whatsoever. So these are the only 3 options. And if you learn that you're not spinning, and you learn that the sun's not doing horizontal circles, there's only one option left, and that is that you're in a VR. So deductive reasoning, everybody should be in the virtual reality camp now, right?
Well, it's a much larger group outside of the communities of people that know that the Earth is flat. There's way more people that believe they use the word simulation, sadly, because they've been taught that way. Again, the CIA, FBI, Tavistock industry has pushed out there that nothing's real, right? When everything is very real, your eternal salvation is very real. And so, yeah, we've got Flat Earth Dave. He does what he does. He was on Roseanne. He was on Alex Jones.
How do you go on Roseanne? That's another case of you have to be one of the elites to be mentioned by another one of the elites, right?
Only he knows how. So that's how you get on there. We don't know how. We don't get on there. Again, nobody really wants to ever talk to us. And yeah, okay, I am, we're critiquing these channels. This is a public forum. These are people putting out public videos, and we're not doing it in a mean way. And anybody that we're showing on the screen, they've got the full right to show up here and join us live. Anybody wants to, does David have 1 million subscribers? Wow. He's up to 1.1 million, or no, that's his rank. Sorry, I was looking at that back in
102,000 subscribers. He should get the verified check soon, right?
Mark got it, but he got the plaque, right? He got the play button.
So he's still getting views, but the poor people that are being psyoped into this stuff, right?
Yeah, he's continuing to push it. He's got his disinformation. We see too far. Sun never rises or sets. He's got his shill topics that he just goes through like nobody else.
The sun fades out, right?
Yeah, crazy disinformation where he just uses the worst CGI you could ever imagine. But hey, that's Dave Weiss. If that's what you're into, go and get you some. All of these characters. If you're into Mark Sargent's podcast, watch it. They've got a good feel-good vibe at the Sargent show. Him and DJ, at least they're happy. At least they're positive, right? Now we're on Eric Dubay. This guy's got to be one of the biggest buzzkill, whining, sniveling. This guy, he's got so much potential to, do a good service to creation, to fight for what's right, to use his platform, to use his skill, his narration skills. People like to listen to him read. What does he use it for? To say that if he was a creator, he could do a better job, and that, nobody should get sick, and this place is just a trap. And you can see Flat Earth Begonia is this stupid ass movie where they're mocking Flat Earth. He covers it, right, to get the clicks. Should we save the fly or spare the spider? I don't know what kind of nonsense that is, but here's what he's doing. Flat Earth philosophy, right? We're going to talk about robots.
Well, it's just a promotion for a book that he's selling. Philosophy book.
Yeah, nonsense, right?
Get you some philosophy from Eric.
But he's still getting views. He's still out here.
But then you can see no flat earth. All right, then here's a flat earth video. And I think that was actually a decent one.
Yeah, he does do so you have to do good content. You have to put out stuff that's truthful and interesting, or nobody follows you, right? Well, I mean, if you get a lot of views and a lot of comments, people do just generally just click on the NPCs do, right?
Yeah, but really not a whole lot of flat earth content. Would definitely like to see more flat earth content.
Yeah.
From Eric. Who else?
There's not much. There's really not much left.
Darren, no Darren anymore, huh?
Flat Earth, Flat Water, yes. He's been around since the original rollout of Flat Earth. YD asked, good point. He still is making content.
I am subscribed and have not seen much from him. He
put one out
reads text. Oh, really?
Yeah, he reads books. He's sort of like an Eric Dubay, but I think he's Canadian military. Don't get me. He might not be, but
yeah,
Canadian
put out
guy.
A short, huh?
Yeah, I saw something across the subscription
132,000 subs, but he does the biblical readings.
Yeah, people like it, right?
Yeah, 5 days ago, 2 weeks ago, but it's Mount Meru.
Same. These are just re-ups that he did from 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah, and then Firmament.
Nonsense.
Yeah, these absolute gibberish.
It's really sad because none of it's biblical, right? When you understand that the firmament meant the sky, right? And can also be relating to the ground that we walk on, the waters above or the rains, that fall down on us, and the waters are below the oceans, right? When you understand what the Bible actually says, you start to see all this stuff in a much different light. Yeah, Martin Leakey. So I was friends with Martin Leakey in the original role at a Flat Earth, and he went all mud flood and Tartaria, and he was very anti-biblical. They didn't really. There was Matrix Decode was a great flat earther that put out great content. Him and Wakey put out decent stuff, although Wakey went very off the rocker. He ripped them off for money on their flat earth keychains. The Eagle gets involved with this stuff, right? So who else do we have? We're almost through the end of the list. There's no more Math Powerland. What's he shilling on Instagram, trying to get you to buy mud or something, sand?
Yeah, Bobby at Flat Earth and Coffee, he was a flash in the pan. He was only there for a short time, sort of like a King Nico character.
Yeah, well, he's still making content, very blasphemous. You got, who's that other guy? Nachiketa. He's still doing the odd stream, but he's not even really a flat earther. He's just an upward rising earther now, and that's what he wants to argue about. Z quit, Jaren quit. Those other crews that were all around. Who was that old guy that freaked out on Karen B? I don't see him doing the content anymore. The smoking guy, Sovereign Soul. Yeah, he's gone. They're all gone. Everybody, and they all came out and made absolute clowns of themselves, saying that the final experiment was filmed in a studio. It was so ridiculous, and of course, how are you going to show face after that? When you do something like that, when you promote such ridiculous disinformation, you just lose your energy. Your credibility is gone. You got to stay after the truth in this.
Any other names that we should go through?
I think we're starting to get to the bottom. Is anyone else in the chat? Do you guys see anybody else? Do you hear anything? Like, who knows what happened to Flat Earth? Now, I'm not giving Will Duffy the victory here, right? All he did was kill something that was already dead. Right? It's obviously easy to do. He's like a bird stealing a fish that we caught. Go ahead, take it. You want the dead fish? Take it. We'll get another one. We'll get a bigger one. He's a Tedic warrior. He doesn't do anything. That's Z. Yeah, he's gone.
Notch left. He
does the odd stream.
Yeah,
right?
The upwards rising. No, I don't think he even does that anymore.
Yeah, you got Dell, who does the odd thing where he comes on, smokes, and screams at everybody. But so Will Duffy, he did not destroy anything. He came in and just basically kicked something that was already down, right? It was already fractured. It was already going to happen. Now, the big documentary that they were supposedly going to do with, what was his name? Jonathan Morande, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had Candace Owens, producer. They teamed up together. Will Duffy, they went to Antarctica. They got all the footage. They did all the experiments. McToon and Dave McKeegan and that other guy that was just like 4 foot tall. I can't remember his name from, was he Australian? Wolfie sent him because Wolfie didn't want to take part.
Critical
Think. No, I think it was a different one. Creaky Blinder? No, Critical Think was his name. You're right. He did a weight measurement without even calculating in the different pressures at elevations. I mean, there was such ridiculous things that these guys did. So you're at the Wikipedia. Let's finish it off here.
Yeah, so almost a year now, everybody. And what's happened? Well, a lot of flat earth content has come to an end, and there is no documentary, and the fake flat earthers have pretty much packed it up. We've got Jaren, he's a globe earth super shill now, trying to hunt down flat earthers.
Yeah, American Christian pastor, they called him, right? Who took over for Bob Enyart, who was a anti-flat earther already, who died as an anti-cerveza bug guy. But died of cerveza bug, right?
Yeah, we got right-wing political commentators such as Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson.
They had nothing to do with it. Nothing.
Have given a
neither
platform.
One of them. Yeah, Candace gave it a platform. I never heard Tucker. Does that take us to Tucker talking about the final experiment? Because I didn't hear any of it, but I heard Candace. Yeah, she entertained it. She'll do whatever the Vatican tells her. There's this Wheat Ridge. I don't think he's in Wheat Ridge.
It might be.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they go to Union Glacier. They see the sun circle overhead. They wouldn't even give us the azimuth and altitude elevations like we asked for.
Nothing.
Because we have models that predict it to 100th of a degree per second, and we wanted to double check, right?
And they call him the evil villain of the Earth world. Yeah, nothing ever came out. The documentary was never made. Now, it could still come out, but I feel like it's pretty much lost all its energy. They needed to put it out
a little too late.
Yeah, within a few months of last year. It should have come out in, March, April. Maybe Miranda quit. He gave up on it. Maybe something spoke to him and he decided not to participate, or Will Duffy ran out of money. I think the main agenda that they had was to have Jaron, the flat earther for 10 years or 8 years, come out and say that he was wrong and that the earth is not flat and that it was a Christian pastor that actually took him there. The whole thing with Jaron, if we put Jaron back on the screen for the end here, Jaron was the one who...
If I bring this up, is his...
There's nothing there, really. There's the trailer, but no documentary. Jaron was the one who instantly brought out Bob Enyart. Jaron loved. He loved listening to a Christian pastor, Bob Enyart, speak on a radio show. Jaron was saying all this glowing stuff about him, and the next thing you know, he was invited with Will Duffy to go to Antarctica. There they are, all with their shirts off, except for the girl that she's just gone too. She doesn't do anything. She never did anything. Lisbeth. She didn't do anything in the community anyways. They've got their little website that they're involved with. I can't even remember the name of it. But so they went, Jaron went there, and then they live streamed Jaron saying that the earth is not flat and that he got it wrong. So there he is from the first mockumentary. There's the cover of it. When I said he was much heavier there, he's lost a lot of weight since then. So he was the poster boy in Netflix. We thought that this movie would be the poster for Amazon. But there he is right there. Watch the world's most famous flat earther, they called him. He was only the world's most famous flat earther because he went on TikTok and he did he set up an experiment where he shined a flashlight at a distance and he couldn't see it. And he told the guy, hold it way up over your head. And you literally see the guy turn the light on and tilt it up. So the guy never had the flashlight on until Jaron told him to raise it above your head. And they ended the mockumentary like that. And everyone's seen it on Netflix. So they brought him to Antarctica. There he is, posing all awkwardly. We don't even know how much he got paid to do this, but someone said $1 million or something. I don't know. I don't care what these guys sell their souls for, what they've done, like Bitcoin scamming, whatever it is that they got made to do this. I hope they're happy with it because they're going to pay for it for the rest of eternity, right? Lying and disinforming people. But so the whole final experiment wasn't about the documentary. It was about Will Duffy. Look at his face. Will Duffy there. Look at this guy. And there's Jaron Campanella. You can see him there with his wife, Missa, and their tongues out. That's them. That was the whole thing, Jason. So it turned out that the only thing that they wanted and needed was to have him go and say that the earth definitely wasn't flat. And lo and behold, everybody, if you don't know, Jaron Campanella is an antichrist character who literally said that JC could you-know-what is you-know-what. He's not one that's hidden. He's an outright, complete anti-biblical hater of the creator. So lo and behold, he's the one that Will Duffy takes to Antarctica to supposedly prove that the earth is a sphere. So if that doesn't sit right for you, you're with me.
No, Jaron the Jesuit doesn't sit well.
And admitted that he's a Jesuit, that he grew up, went to Jesuit school. His great-great-great-great-grandfather or whatever, Jaron Campanella, was in the Vatican. You could do the research, was just like him, same kind of thing. And, he's a fake poet. He's a fake character. And I hope he's happy with the shillings, the shekels that he got.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just wanted to go through and do a sort of year in review for this final false dichotomy psyop. And, we're sort of where we thought we might be. We knew that the fake flat earthers were going to die off after this. We thought that there might be at least a documentary to go through and cover, but we might not get that. So what happens? We just keep moving on. We're going to keep doing the flat earth content. Reciprocal angles is coming your way soon, everybody. And, it's one of the topics that we cover. It's one of the 10 fundamental truths, and we enjoy it. So we'll keep covering it.
Yeah. So there won't be a Rise and Grind podcast this weekend, and maybe not next weekend. Stay tuned. The next time the Rise and Grind podcast takes place, it'll either be a Friday or a Saturday or a Thursday night. We're going to be shifting it. We're going to be doing less of them. Stay tuned on the Limitless channel. If you're interested in shorter form videos, I'm going to be doing that. I'm also posting content on TikTok, right? RJ Shine or the Limitless channel. You can catch me at both of those names on YouTube and on TikTok. I'm going to continue to be putting out content covering rig politics, rig sports, rigged influencers exposed, people that are lying to you. I'm going to continue to try to help the community out with gardening tips, with painkiller creams, things that you're not going to get on most of the regular channels. You got to be subscribed and tuned in to the stuff that we're doing. And, if you're not, that's on you. And if you're not catching the other content, it's on you. We also have a Telegram group called Reality Check and Reality Check Chat. We also constantly put out brand new music. We put out spiritual memes and art and graphics and shorts and feel good stuff. And there's just a barrage of content that we're trying to put out. We're trying to level up our stuff. We're trying to continue to improve. And we're actually putting an effort to find our community, to find our crew. Not that we don't love everyone that's tuned in here on YouTube. My heart goes out to you, especially even you, the shills that come on here and you're in the background. You're not saying anything. I'd be a lot happier if you guys shown yourself, but thank you too for not for coming here. And we're going to continue to grow this content, and tune in. Make sure you're subscribed on the Limitless channel here on YouTube, Reality Check Chat, and Team Yahawashai over on Telegram. We can talk on Telegram. You can send messages in the group. We can talk, and not much goes on there because nobody wants to participate, right?
Nope. Can we talk about the fact that now that you have your channel back, everybody, can you read this number over Ron's head right here?
There's no point to show that. Come on, we don't need to brag. We don't need to brag.
Over 2 million views in the last week. So whatever Ron is doing, he's doing it right. And no, we don't do it for money. But if he was doing it for money,
it's not monetized. None of my stuff.
YouTube would probably pay between $5,000 and $16,000 a month for that.
Imagine, I can't even believe if you're out here and you're tuned in and you're doing what I'm doing and you're getting paid $16,000 by YouTube, you're in trouble come the millennial reign. You're going to be really broke. Yeah, we don't make a dime. We don't have any monetization. We don't have any AdSense turned on any of our content. We're not selling T-shirts. We're not selling coffee mugs, but we are actually selling truth and good heartwarming content and spiritual memes and
selling it for free though, right?
Yeah, we're selling it for free. Herbal remedies, exercise techniques. Here, we'll leave you with one tip. So what we've started to do now, we're both working out and trying to get in shape to become the best that we can be. That's what our eternal, work is we started drinking matcha tea. You tuning in right now, I don't know if you've heard of it. You can get matcha tea and you can get, good and better quality matcha. You just do some research. And so not drinking as much coffee, switching to matcha tea. And this is supposed to be something really healthy for us. So if you're tuning in right now, have you ever heard of matcha tea? And if you haven't, I think it's a good chance and a good time for you to do some investigations and see if it's right for you.
Yeah, well, where's the only place people will get this content, brother?
Only on the Yahawashai News Networks.
Welcome.
Have you lost your cheeky mind to the devil's tongue? The secrets that you keep. Horror at the cinema. We love that sin on screen so hot and that you'd rather sit in silence. We can just watch the movie screen. Grip my hand and see the screens.
Laser beams, action drama, beauty queen.
You still love the sex scenes, don't you? The slow dance till 2 in the morning. Used to love it in the backseat with you. Now you turn away in the moment. We can just watch the movie. Have you lost your cheeky mind to confusion? Dangerous protagonist. Puppy dog, a sucker punch. We love that sin on screen so hot and heavy. Placing your head upon my shoulders. Don't tell me that you'd rather sit in silence. We can just watch the movie screen.